I started my career pretty much when I was like 27. That's pretty shocking for many of the Asian community when they expect the guy or the girl to graduate by 22, work for 2 years, get an MBA, get married, have a family, and keep doing very well. I, on the other hand, started exploring my life with my college life. At that point in time, I heard a lot of comparisons from the Asian community. Hello, 21st century. This is Shobir Bhatt. I love to venture and explore. If you ask me what do I do for a living or who I am, I'm an explorer like Christopher Columbus or Vasco da Gama. What I do, I don't go across the ocean, but what I do, I explore the business opportunities worldwide. So I can generate jobs for you guys, invent cool things like many cool inventors, basically create a legacy. So in short, keeping it real, who Shobir is. Shobir is an entrepreneur. He's an investor in Fortune 500 companies. He's working on 5 different new brands, starting from management consulting to holding company to a television channel, a foundation for CSR, and last but not the least, a small hedge fund for other startup companies for you guys. So let's venture and explore.
That was a crisp and nice introduction, Soubir. So once again, thank you so much for obviously taking time out and being here for the one-on-one session. Really looking forward to the entire discussion and talking points with you, and really honored to actually host the session, and sharing the stage and screen with you. So Soubir, before we head into the main discussion, we have a rapid fire round that we prepared for you. So as a rapid fire suggests,
Please bring it on. I love surprises. Trust me, it's even if it might be scary. I don't know. Hey, but that's a fun time of life.
Awesome, great. So we have 5 rapid fire questions, and I'm just gonna shoot one by one at you. So here's the first one. Describe yourself in 3 words.
Venturer, kind, gym freak.
All right. So the second one is one lesson you learned from your career path and tell every other person about.
Do not bring in other people's money and run down into losses or take loans from anybody. Financial matters, be very, 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 very careful, guys. It's like using a nuclear bomb. Earn your money, put it wherever you want. Be careful of the money factor. That's all. Rest is all good.
That's a smart advice, actually. So
I failed multiple times, learn through it.
All right. So the third question, Soubir, is asked to speak on a national podium addressing the youth. What would you speak about?
I would speak about how life is actually positive, but we humans fail to see that positivity and get into all sorts of fights, wars with guns, drugs, politics. Trust me, life isn't that negative. This entire universe is a very positive place. Human beings lack that tenor, that entire that patience to explore that positivity. Don't get into negative. Be positive. That's a good formula.
Absolutely. And that's the only way to actually succeed further in the life too. I've heard that a lot from
keep
many
smiling
people.
more and keep smiling more. Like I met you, Siddharth. I know all your team members are watching, and I'm not just fake smiling. It's just it makes me look good on the cam. That's for sure. And moreover, when I'm smiling, smile is contagious. See, you're enjoying that session. People who'll be viewing me, they'll be like, yeah, I see that smiling face guy with a purple tie. Wow, let us smile. It's contagious. It's even more dangerous than corona, which can cure every social problem. Smile more, think positive, be happy. Don't shoot yourself. That's what I got to tell the world.
That's so true, and thank you so much for that one true advice. Now, moving on to the fourth one, Soubir.
Yeah.
Your tips on becoming a successful professional or a leader, what would it be?
To become a successful or a good leader is okay. Now, there are multiple things that are coming into my mind. First of all, bring in the pride for what are you doing. First, the leader has to take pride in his own vision, and followed by the team he picks up. First thing, you got to bring in pride. Pride doesn't mean arrogance, trust me. Keep arrogance away. Take pride inside you. Be humble. And be very ethical. Be very, very, very ethical, transparent. Because being unethical will help you earn billions right now. But when the big daddy up there, sitting up in heaven, decides to strike down on you, someday he might be really furious and he says, okay, I'm going to strike this unethical guy down. That's your bad day. So you be right, you be positive, you have the highest. You know what? When you're right, when you're full of high spirit, other people feel that aura. And automatically, I had a bunch of friends at the gym, at my office, even from my neighboring offices come over for coffee, and they're like, Shobir, we love to visit you. Not because you're the CEO or the chairman or holding different multiple portfolios in Wall Street companies. Not for that. But you're a very positive person. When we speak to you, when we sit down with you, we get charged up and motivated. So I'm like, that's a badge of honor. That's even bigger than my money. Trust me. Money is nothing in front of that respect, badge of honor, and the biggest compliment saying, when we meet you, when we speak to you, we feel very charged up. We were having a bad day, but now we are very motivated to do this.
So I can very well relate to, whatever probably you just rightly said. So I completely second if you have already got all those compliments to be
We're entrepreneurs. We think alike. See, we have a very common culture, a bond. See, you might be in the edtech industry, I might be in financial market, and multiple factors, which I'm not going to start rattling out. It's going to take up all the interview time. What we share as global entrepreneurs, the high spirit, positivity, and that tenor to create some legacy.
Absolutely. So this brings me down. Absolutely. So this brings me down to the last question of the rapid fire, Soubir. So the fifth one that we have for you is, we know that you have ventured and you love to explore. So what's the next big thing planned in your career ahead, or probably in your wish
Very good question. This is one of my very favorite questions. Okay, what's the next thing? Maybe running for public office someday. I don't intend to right now, but who knows? If I do a good job, if people want me. Otherwise, I respect people in the public office because that goes through the politics. Now, next part of my venture is either be a diplomat by representing my country. That's only possible when I have a bunch of gray hairs, 25, 30 years of experience, and the president of India wants, hey Shobir, why don't you represent our nation in another nation? Because you're a good businessman. You generated plenty of jobs worldwide, created brands in India and the world. Why don't you do the same thing in diplomacy? That's my dream. I don't know, like we do dream, but if we keep on like rattling that in our minds, but the dream like comes true. So next thing in my career, I honestly, I have no idea whether it will be diplomacy or holding public office. Maybe 30, 35 years later, when I'm above 60. I need to be a senior citizen first. Because I learned through all the mistakes, all the good, bad, ugly of life, of entrepreneurship. I'm going to learn what's good for others, what's good for me, what's good for my nation. Then if people think, this guy Shobir with a white smile can run certain office, certain portfolio, I'll be really honored. But I'm an entrepreneur at heart, not a politician.
Understood. So that the next big thing definitely is something that probably now that you mentioned, even I would be on a lookout for. So
Hmm.
you never know. All right,
I
Soubir.
don't
So
know.
all right. So moving on, Soubir. So thank you so much for the rapid fire round. So you were spot on. Your answers were great. And now let's move on to the main discussion of the session. So I'll walk you through
Hmm.
one by one with all the talking points. And like we discussed, we would love to hear your insights on those talking points and discussion points, basis on
Hmm.
your expertise and your journey that you have had so far.
Great.
And we would really love if you could, concise the answers in like 3 to 4 minutes. That would be like a really plus point for us. But again, if you feel that probably something needs to be elaborated, please feel free. We won't stop you.
I'll do that for sure.
Perfect. All right. So the very first is, so we're like we have been discussing. Your profile is just I would say amazing. I've gone through it. You've ventured almost every other thing into right. You said, you went to Harvard Business, you went to Harvard Law, you went to surf around the toilet. I don't know. So probably I would be missing out many other things too. So could you just let us know about your journey so far, and probably what has been your biggest learnings so far?
Biggest learnings, the reality of life. But see, I started my career pretty late. I took a little long time to graduate because I was changing my school. I changed my major twice, and that point in time, my parents are very supportive. My dad especially mentioned that, hey Shobir, I have no problem funding your education a little longer, or you changing your major. I was pre-med and business, so I scooted over to economics and business because I wanted to be more on the investment banking side. Basically, I dreamt to work for Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Morgan Stanley, or any of these Wall Street big brands. I started my career pretty much when I was like 27. That's pretty shocking for many of the Asian community when they expect the guy or the girl to graduate by 22, work for 2 years, get an MBA, get married, have a family, and keep doing very well. I, on the other hand, started exploring my life with my college life. And that point in time, I heard a lot of comparisons from the Asian community, not to mention any country. The Asian community was very unhappy. They said, Shobir, you just throwing away your life. But the moment I started VNE, I said, you know what? It's a new life. Let's forget whatever baggage I have, whatever bad memories I got in my work, or whatever bad things somebody did to me. Let's all forget it. Let's say Vusa Om Shanti. Vusa is an American term for anger management.
Right.
So I'm like, take a deep breath, say life is good, you're the master of your own domain. Only thing, God is watching you. He's watching your karma. So remembering that karma thing, you can write your book, you can explore. So the minute I gave up on negative thoughts, I started becoming thirsty for what next. What am I gonna invent next? What am I gonna do next? It's like it's an addiction. You want to create something, you want to share something. Like I started VNE Consulting Group, a bouquet of management services. Then all of a sudden I'm like, let's start an e-commerce venture. And that's how Blue Store came into life. That's a very long story. I'm not gonna kill time here. For this grandfather story, you guys need to come into a big auditorium and give me about like 2 hours time.
Got it. So obviously, the venture has been great, and now the next set of questions is something that we would, love to hear your insights about. So, Soubir, so the very next question is, since we know that you are a person who loves investing, and you are right now as an investor. So, coming from an entrepreneurial side, we would love to understand as an investor, how do you evaluate a company? How do you value?
How do we value? That's a very, very crucial question. See, this is a multiple, different investors would come out very differently. Some might go by the balance sheet, somebody goes by the brand, somebody goes by the reputation in the market. For me, I'll tell you what, balance sheet, to be very honest, I just throw it away. I know a bunch of my investment banking brothers and sisters are going to be furious. They'll be like, Shobir, are you high or something? What are you saying? Throwing out the balance sheet out of your desk? That ain't happening. But you know what? I'll tell you what. For me, you know what? What's the crucial part as an investor? I see who the man, who the business leader is. Under whose leadership is that brand working? I look at the leadership. Think
So,
of touching the
so that
papers. Trust me, numbers are very boring. I remember as a I've lots of grandfather stories again. Crunching
so
is
this is
really cumbersome. You need to have a good team. By the way, I'm going to add this. Now, number crunching is so boring. It teaches you team building, teamwork, and group cohesiveness. Because I hated numbers, but I loved the accounting career. But I wanted to be an investment banker. I wanted to go into finance. I said, oh, alone, I'm going to fail and get kicked out of school. What I did, we built an accounting study group. Eventually, that group became more like an organization, became like a soccer team, cricket team, or a baseball team. Till now, we're 20 members in the group, this much connected. Someone's working for Goldman, somebody's working for KPMG, somebody's working for, you name all the big fours, investment banking. So basically, we learn to teamwork, we learn to get along with each other for the bigger devil. Trust me, devil and negativity, you need at a certain point to motivate you, but don't live with it. Look at the negativity, look at the devil, generate some sustainable thoughts how to fight that devil. Don't be friends with that devil or negativity.
that's a
Entrepreneur always
very
thinks how to sustain.
That's a very valuable insight, Soubir, I must say, because I honestly have never seen an entrepreneur who, you have a very different mindset altogether. I've always heard entrepreneurs talking about finances, balance sheets. I
Right.
value the losses, I value the prices, I look how the profits are and everything. And I think your point is also very, very valid and legit in itself that, straight away look at the leadership. Just look at it,
Hmm.
how the leader in itself is driving. I think that's one of the key
Hmm.
things that you'll be able to analyze it in a better manner. So that's a new insight. I learned something new today. So Bert, this brings me to the next question, which is a sort of a little connected one, and this is basically for people outside and a little insight from you. So now that we know how you basically value a company, so what are your thoughts on how to value a company with negative historical cash flow? Would you prefer going for it, or would you still, have the same mindset to,
It depends. See, all the decision for evaluating a company, it's not made alone. Like for certain companies, yeah, I may be able to do some basic study myself. But if you want to do some in-depth analysis of a company, I need to bring in my team because certain analysis will be made by a particular team member who's even better than me. And I try to see my team as better than me. I bring in ideas into V&E, but I want my team to be superior than me. It gives me immense pride when people say, "Oh, that guy is your team member. I met him. Shobir, I know your team member more than you." I'm excited. I'm successful. Now, what happens in certain companies is if you go up to a chairman, certain CEO, or a business leader and tell them, "Oh, I know your person more than you." Now, if he's complicated, he'll be threatened. And especially if he's in the appointed position. As an entrepreneur, I bring in skills to build an organization, take some leadership roles, and basically build a team who's even better than me in many aspects. When it comes to in-depth evaluation of a company, trust me, I would rely on my team. I would share my views, hear them out, and for the in-depth number crunching and analysis, I would really depend on them.
got it. So, so that's the the easy hack basically to and I really like how one pointer that I would like to
Hmm.
highlight that being a leader. I think the other thing that I got from the answer is, despite of the fact that you're a leader, you obviously have to value your team too, because they are the ones who are helping you establish the
Yes,
core. So that's
Bean is
a
nothing without them. We have a very small team, but that makes Venture and Explore Corp and Venture and Explore Consulting Group.
True. So that truly defines, the other way that leaders obviously need to look into their, they need to value the team and the team members too. That's a very nice thought altogether, Soubir. So, just for the audience, Soubir, I know that you know about the hedge funds, but if you can just try to elaborate a little bit as to, for the audience, as to, because they are a little younger and they would love to understand this.
Yeah,
so
they actually need to be told. I know what are hedge funds?
And who typically invests in them?
Who does? That's a very, very, very crucial question. Now, I won't start the professor type definition because our young minds would not appreciate that. They need some time. They need to work a couple of years to understand all that. They'll all learn. Now, hedge fund is totally different from keeping money in fixed deposit or in your bank account. Hedge fund is a pool of fund. Like I bring in 10 different businessmen. 10 different businessmen put in certain amount of money into my company, which is a financial service hedge fund. Hedge fund is a pool of fund accumulated and invested in different companies, in different startups, in the gold market, in real estate. Basically, you're funding variety of businesses to earn higher returns that are more than 100%. But the risk is very higher too.
Right.
You may lose your money, but in hedge fund, you got to sign a huge contract that says, okay, you are putting in your money for that money to multiply like 1,000 times more. But you cannot touch that money for the next 10 years. Just say for the next 5 years. Like if I can use that money can be used to fund real estate project, put into gold, silver, bullion market, put into oil and gas stocks. You can buy equity in different companies. You can fund a startup of a young entrepreneur or fund an existing business that's already running but needs more cash. Basically, you're helping with working capital and long term. So hedge fund is a long-term alternative investment fund. Why alternative? Because it's totally different from the bank. And who invests in hedge fund? In layman terms, it's super rich people, big companies, government bodies put their money into hedge fund. And they're called as lending partners. And the one whom I'm running that hedge fund, I'll be the general partner. Onus will be on me. If anything happens to that money, people are going to catch me by the collar. They'll be like, Shobir, where is our money? What did you do? Did you build an empire or did you just use it on your own personal thing? Why didn't you invest? So with big powers come big responsibility. Spider-Man.
Absolutely. And that's one tag that that's there in our office actually too, wherein we always pass by. It's right at the doorway when we come in the office too. So great, Soubir. So thank you so much for actually elaborating on the hedge funds. Now moving on to the next set of entrepreneurial questions. So this is again a little bit interlinked, and so as per you, we know that how can I so to put it in the right way, so digitalization has obviously been growing, but we obviously saw a massive outburst of digitalization in every single domain, specifically in the face of pandemic, right? A business started to move around, physical businesses went to a loss, and the people who were in the digital world, they were the best people to actually stand tall. So now that we know that you need to actually be in the digitalization, so how should entrepreneurs focus more on digitalization for business growth?
See, entrepreneurs, I'll tell you what, digitalization is a revolution in today's world where you don't have the leeway to go out, carry out a meeting, or you're not able to go to a store to buy something. You have to sit at home. Your government has locked you down for your own good. You cannot disobey. It's the law that wants you to be in. So everything is digitalized nowadays, and it's is going to be disruptive, but there's a lot of danger to disruption. Artificial intelligence. That intelligence is artificial. Why? Machines handling it.
Right.
The original intelligence or the human being. Honestly, if you ask me, what has artificial intelligence made us? It has made us very, very, very lazy, which is not good again.
Agreed.
So I support the hybrid model. Digitization is good. Is good. Say, for example, if I'm stuck at some other city and I lost all my wallet, I can call my dad, ask him to wire me some money. I can go to a nearby bank. This I'm talking if I lost my ATM card and everything. I can go to a bank, get my money out. So these are all digitization. Everywhere there's disrupted technology. See, disruption, digitization is a blessing. But where it turns human beings lazy, I don't support that. People are refusing to come out for a meeting just next to their house at a coffee shop. They're like, I don't feel like dressing up. I'm like, come on, man, come on. That coffee shop is really down the road. You just walk out of your gate, come into the coffee shop, I'll be there. They're like, no, bro, trust me. Connect to Zoom. So where people become lazy, I don't support that digitization. Otherwise, digitization is a blessing. Absolutely. It saves humans, trust me.
Absolutely. And I completely agree to actually both the part of the coin, to be very honest, like you just highlighted. So while obviously digitalization has helped us to improve business, expand exponentially in multiple aspects, I think it has also turned, unfortunately, humans into lazy beings. Rather than human beings, we unfortunately are slowly becoming lazy beings. So that's like the dark side.
See, digitization, I'll tell you where digitization is good. When it comes to global business, logistics, global supply chain, that's where digitization is highly appreciated. Like when my tons of shipment are coming out of the port at Hong Kong, when will it reach Mumbai? What stage is it going through? Has the shipment been loaded to the vessel? These are the things. I get it on my handheld. But when people or I, being a person, start saying, oh, I just don't want to feel like going out to the coffee shop for a meeting, I can do it on Zoom. That's where bye-bye artificial intelligence. You're artificial. I'm the original. So for a bigger aspect, I'm saying artificial intelligence, digitization is good for a bigger aspect. For big business, for convenience at home. Say if you're sick, you can't go out, or you're contagious to other people, you can sit down on the couch, order whatever you need, because you're sick. Let's use height of technology when it's needed. Like international trading is needed. International air transportation, like you can sit down, buy your tickets. If you want to travel on the railroad, you want to take a flight, those are convenient. You can save that time and devote it at home or office. I feel it's an 80-20 rule. 80% is good, 20% is not good when digitization says. When I put my feet on the couch and I say I don't want to go out for a meeting, that's 20%.
Got it. So Soubir, this actually brings me to one of the touch points that you actually slightly touched, and I really liked it. And now we would like to talk about this one. Is like you said in one of our previous discussions, that you create your own legacy, right? You are your own writer. And entrepreneurs, like you rightly said, they have this crazy mindset. They want to venture into new stuff and conquer that one thing. So, your advice for entrepreneurs on how to build that legacy through brand, the brand that they are coming up with. So, what's your advice there?
So, my advice would be, first of all, I went into a classroom of a business school where I asked some of the students, like, why would you like to be an entrepreneur? And their answer was, sir, we want to be an entrepreneur so we can make tons of money. We can raise funds from the venture capital. We can let that company grow for 3-4 years. increase the valuation, sell it off, then we can buy an island in Europe, and we can buy a Lamborghini and live like a king. That's all. We're not bothered about the brand. We're not bothered about creating a niche brand with our names. All right, so here's my deal, that if you want to be an entrepreneur, make sure your name stays with that brand. You may sell off that business. Don't worry. Raise as much money as you want. 40 as much as you want in Europe or in the Caribbean. That's your personal life. It's your hard-earned money. You're free to do. Marry 20 times. I don't care. But what you need to do is please stay attached with that brand. Like, for example, when Hotmail.com was launched by Soubir Bhatt made his millions. He sold that brand to Bill Gates, Microsoft. But whenever we say Hotmail.com, we first say Soubir Bhatt. He created a niche branding that is Hotmail is by Soubir Bhatt. Get attached to that brand. Build a brand. No matter how many times it's sold, no matter who buys it, your name stays in it. Legacy doesn't mean your kids are gonna use that money, buy an island, party, or start a business. It doesn't matter if it's in the family or outside the family or outside your country. Your name should be there. Like when it comes to McDonald's, people say, oh, Ray Krog's brand from Illinois. Ray Krog is the main guy. Or Walt Disney. Yeah, Walt Disney is a very good example of legacy. Uncle Walt, he was a reject in one of the marketing companies. We all know it. His ideas were termed as stupid. But how did he conquer the world? Because he believed in his brand. He had the pride. He said, hey, you know what? This company doesn't like it. Forget it. Somebody is going to like it. That's the high spirit. There were people who didn't like VNE. They said, oh, what is VNE? What exactly do you guys do? Are you guys manufacturer? Are you guys realtors or what? You're weird, man. I said, hell yeah, I'm weird. I'm crazy. I'm so crazy that I don't punch walls. I start thinking. See, crazy is good. Every human beings are crazy. But how do you channelize that craziness? Don't channelize that craziness into guns and drugs. Trust me, no guns and drugs. Channel that craziness into thinking, animating. You don't have to be a cartoonist. Animating means I take a piece of paper, I say, hey, VNE Corp is going to have a real estate, it's going to have an e-commerce, it's going to be an automotive manufacturer. We want to open an airline to fly VNE. My mom said, just get out. Do you know what you're talking? She said, do you know what you're talking? I said, yeah, Mom. Let 30, 40 years pass. Let me gray up like Warren Buffett. Then I can do it. But the next 30 years, I can start planning. When I get that much capital, why not? I'll tie up with a bunch of even better breeds than me. So my new generation, trust me, I'm getting old. You guys might feel where's that coolness? Trust me, with age, the definition of coolness keeps on changing. Like I used to spike my hair. I used to wear all funky, like I used to put on a suit, I used to spike my hair. Yes, I saw your hand going up. So now, in my 30s, why am I not doing it anymore? I said, yeah, you know what? I still look good with this. With the most simple style. But if I did this in high school, it'd be like, just get out. You're a dork. See, everything changes with age. And with age and experience, you start loving your own culture. You start loving the original things. So when intelligence is artificial, be very careful where you guys are using that artificial intelligence. Don't use that to duck a meeting with a friend or an important meeting with an investor or a business colleague. Trust me, seeing somebody dying on the camera is not awesome. I saw one of my friend's mom passing away. She called me to say goodbye from Chicago. And she was like, Shobir, I love you guys. And since you're not here in the US, I'm down with COVID. And this is a time when I'm saying goodbye to all of you. See, that artificial intelligence is not good. I know it's just a blessing I got to see her. I got to at least show my tearful face. But why use for such reasons, huh?
Right.
Why not visit
I
them
agree.
personally when you can? So that's
That's
the
some really
20%. Yeah, yeah.
right. So
So
that's a
new
very
generation
valid
enjoy,
point.
but add your
So
name to your brand.
that's a very valuable point, to be very honest with it. I really like that because, like I mentioned, and I've heard this a lot. So would just like to add to this that I've heard this that this is now a common jargon, I would say, for entrepreneurs, and it is said for almost every other entrepreneur that their own brand is their own newborn baby. So you have to ensure that your name is attached towards that brand.
Correct.
And that's how
Like
you
Elon
you
Musk.
basically.
Elon Musk. When you
Mhm.
talk PayPal, Elon Musk has hyped it up, but Elon's name comes in. When you say Tesla, Elon, SpaceX, Elon, Virgin X, Virgin Atlantic, Virgin Records, Virgin Music, Virgin Australia. Who's the guy? Richard Branson.
Richard Branson, right?
Another crazy guy with high spirit.
Correct.
Age is a mere combination of digits. Richard has proved it. Doesn't matter. You might not have hair. You might grow gray. You might get wrinkles on both. Trust me, that doesn't matter. As far as you're creating something exciting, people get excited by something new. Give it to them. That's social work again. You're doing good for the people.
Correct.
No guns, no drugs.
So
No war.
we would now basically so coming back a little bit towards your journey that you've gone by. So I personally take it as a really motivation for myself. If I look back at your journey, that you never stopped learning, right? You never stopped venturing into new stuff. So that's a really motivation factor for even me, and I probably for many other viewers actually. So we would love to understand as to what motivated you to actually go for different, probably Howard, Stanford,
I know, Harvard,
Wharton.
Wharton, Stanford. I got a bunch of them. See, well, grown up. See, my dad is an alumni of Imperial College of Science and Technology in London and London School of Economics. So that entire Ivy League air came into our family when he was senior partner for Anderson Consulting, Anderson and KPMG. So we moved around an environment where IIT, Harvard, Stanford, Yale, Columbia, Wharton were all talked about. And it was imprinted on my DNA that if you can make it to these schools, you can get the best of the training, which will later on leave you for a better future. Like whether you want to take up a job, you can learn all the skills from the best of the professors down there. And the entire environment was very corporate. So when I got a chance during the pandemic, I said, when everything became disruptive, I said, I don't have to travel to Boston right now to attend classes. And to be very honest, my school in New York, State University of New York at Albany, SUNY Albany, is an A+ school. What I learned was limited to finance, corporate law, and economics, and a lot of playtime when it came to the gym, getting trained by these army guys and all. But I needed to enrich my caliber for entrepreneurship. I wanted to listen to excellent, stellar team of professors, what they had to say for a budding entrepreneur. What are the mistakes they made? What are the mistakes I can avoid? How I can run a business? What are the insights I can bring in? Wharton taught me a lot of entrepreneurship, and trust me, me and Kunal Bell of Snapdeal, we had the same professor in entrepreneurship. So we learned from some of the very, very, very best how to apply your crazy imagination into a corporate pattern. Harvard Business School spoke more about how you can reap the seeds of entrepreneurship in developing economies like India, China, Brazil, and many more developing nations in the world. And basically, again, best of the minds were involved in that. Now, when you ask me why did I go for Kennedy School of Government at Harvard? Yeah, diplomacy is something I really enjoy. Administration, diplomacy, learning about global politics. I keep a lot of interest, and Harvard Kennedy School produced a lot of diplomats from their institution. I said, this is a great opportunity to learn diplomacy, public policy, followed by my medical field, Harvard Medical School, that talks more about internal medicine and cancer immunotherapy, because we are very much into the medical field. And trust me, by 2025, I'll be a naturopathy doctor by attending a Canadian School for Alternative Medicine. See, I come from a family of doctors, lawyers, judges, especially doctors. So that medical talent is in my gene. I just started enhancing it.
Got
Medical,
it.
consulting, investment banking, diplomacy, all rounded up into all the Harvard schools. Followed by climate change again. People are like, what are you doing? Have you decided to stay as a student entire life? I'm like, trust me, everyone's a student. Some go to Harvard, some attend the University of Life.
Oh, that's brilliant. I actually take it as a quote, Soubir. So that's something that I really loved about what you just said. I think everyone is a student, and that zeal of learning should never die. And I personally believe in that, because when you stop learning, I think that's when you have stopped living. So
I'll tell you something, Siddharth. I'll add some points. See, I'm a spiritual guy. The more older I'm getting, the more spiritual and mature I'm getting. Everything narrows down to the inner soul. When you're about to leave this body, can you carry that $1 billion or your Lamborghini or that island up? No. You'll have all these gyan within you, with your soul. What happens when I'm talking about some people who believe in afterlife and rebirth. I believe in rebirth. When you're again born, when you're born again, you tend to have those qualities somewhere hidden. Like, honestly, I don't know where did I get that engineering talent or that talent to learn medicine. I don't know. Maybe in some life I might have practiced. I had that knowledge in my soul, which showed up in my body. Think like a soul. I go by what Bhagavad Gita says.
Mm-hmm.
Everything narrows down to a soul, and if your karma is good, if you're thinking to create something that's gonna stay, like McDonald's, KFC is gonna stay. Ford, Henry Ford started it. That's the legacy. Now the best part is Ford stayed within the family. They have their next generation carrying up. Ray Kroc and KFC didn't have anybody from their family, but they're still not dead.
Right. Agree. That's so. That's actually
100 years later. I'm sorry for snubbing, but I'm going to say this the last time. In 2121, I or you won't be alive to see VNE. Probably that time VNE will be like the most Fortune 500 company. 100 years later, I might not be there to see. I will not be there to see.
Right.
But at least I rolled the dice. I rolled the ball. For it to become a Fortune 500. No, I love to own an island. Trust me, I love to drive in Lamborghini. If I can afford, I'll do that. But not at the cost of my company. At at the cost what I can afford. Company money stays in the company.
Agreed. So now, we would love to have this boils us down to the very, very last question. So I've exhausted the list of questions and discussion points that we had. So this
Hmm.
is a little now we spoke about a lot about like your journey, the learnings from your journey, how
Hmm.
your journey has been. So now a little bit advice that if you can share for the Gen Z, which is right now we call all the population and the people right now Gen Z. That's the cooler way of actually calling them, and they
Yeah,
take pride in that name. So
I
your
like that Gen
advice.
Z. Sounds cool.
So
Sounds
right. So, what's your advice, that you would like to give to Gen Z about something which you have actually seen them struggling a lot with? So, you have ventured a lot and you have seen that transition through. So, what is that one advice that you would love to give to them?
one advice. Okay. Gen Z, greetings and salute. Nothing's instant. Nothing's turbocharged. What I saw Gen Z doing right now is a typical human thing of this generation. I want it right here, right now. I want it now. I want $10 million in my bank account. I want to be the richest person right now. That's not going to happen.
Right.
You got to start up slow. You got to start up small, step by step, step by step. Like if I say I want V&E Corp to be the Fortune 500 company right now, and trust me, I'm going to go cuckoo, total crazy. I'll be the most depressed person because V&E Corp or any startup won't be a super famous from day one. So there's nothing called turbocharged or instant success or shortcut to success. Trust me, if it's shortcut to earning money, trust me, it's illegal. I've seen that. I've heard that. And I've seen it around. Shortcut money is totally should be avoided. So give up on turbocharged success. Jack up your spirits in a turbocharged manner. Say, hey, I want to do something and it's going to take some time for it to happen. Only thing that is instant in this life is coffee. Your coffee is always instant. Put some hot water or your cup noodles. That's instant. Success, money, and respect ain't instant, yo. First, earn respect. Then you're gonna earn some good branding and good money. If you earn respect, that'll pave the way for money. Legal.
That was some really, really, nice words.
Yeah, and I'm very hypercharged when this points come. I can like go on like a college kid. I'll be like, yeah, let's do it, That's our generational stress.
Exactly. Yeah. And I must say, so I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation of the entire discussion that, I got a chance to obviously interact with you firsthand. And obviously, I'm sure that, this entire session, whosoever has been watching or probably would be viewing it, they would definitely have a lot of insights and they
We're
would,
gonna have lots of fun. Sure.
Yeah. Absolutely. So, we're once again at the very, very end. I'm so sorry. You
Go ahead.
You were trying to say something.
No, go ahead. I'm listening. I'm all ears.
Okay. So Soubir, once again, just again touching back to the main thing. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Your answers were detailed. The discussion in itself was really insightful. I personally am taking away a lot, to be very honest. While I, heard many things from you, so I personally have taken a lot, and this is definitely going to help a lot of our audience too. So thank you so much for coming in for the one-on-one session. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and really looking forward.
I really enjoyed it. It was always fun to speak to our generation. Try to motivate the upcoming professional generation Z. I like that annotation, and trust me. If we ever think about something instant, go for cup noodles or coffee or for this green coffee tea mixture. That's all instant. Money, success, respect ain't instant.
Got it. Yeah,
I'm going to
that's
mention, see, this entire life is an ocean. You guys are going to hear a lot of articles, journals that I'm going to write. I'm writing slowly and steadily. That's going to come in as Gyan Ganga. The Gyan Ganga is going to go. It's going to be
awesome.
shared.
So in that case,
Gyan
I'll
Ganga
probably
Global.
be the so I'll be the next probably whenever you do so, I'll definitely walk up and publish, subscribe myself to wherever you're
I would be
publishing.
honored. I'd be honored.
Thank
And
you, Soubir, once again, and thoroughly enjoyed. Would love to interact with you again whenever we get a chance.
likewise.
One more time.
All right, then.
Thank
Really
you.
honored. And I always love to thank who in me.